Hey folks, welcome to the Real DVD Watchers for Mulholland Drive Week. And as you may or may not know by now, hopefully you do, this has been, as I mentioned, Mulholland Drive Week. This is directed by David Lynch, and he is the filmmaker behind that crazy guy is high all the time. He's behind films such as Blue Velvet and Eraserhead. Now that Eraserhead is a film that just I fell asleep though, so I can't really comment on it. It stars Naomi Watts, and she plays this aspiring actress named Betty, who's just arrived in Los Angeles, and meets and befriends this amnesia girl who's in this car accident. Accident. Yeah. Who she finds hiding in her apartment. The story from then on is like sort of this mystery thing, and also has what seemingly unrelated little storylines going on that eventually just kind of connect in the overall plot line of this thing. Yeah, that's really as much as I can say without spoiling it, so to speak. I guess I'll start off with my review and then my interpretation. First of all, this is a film that in terms of the technicalities, production value, and style, and all that craziness, it is really great. I love the style, and I love the look and the feel of the film. It's very well crafted in that sense. One of the things I don't like about this film, though, to be perfectly honest, is the pacing. And I know you're gonna be all like, well, stupid Seb. Of course, he didn't like the pacing. There were no Bat-Pod chases or Batman flying to Hong Kong. Of course, he wouldn't like the pace of the film. That's not the case at all. As far as movies that require a bit of attention and force you to think a lot, one movie that comes to mind is Donnie Darko. I love the hell out of that film. But that movie does not bore me at all with its pacing. I am glued to the seat and interested in that film for the entire time. This film, I'm not complaining, okay? I'm just saying that there are moments where it just starts to really just drag on, and I start to just kind of begin to lose interest, and I had to fight to kind of stay with it. But other than that, the pacing in terms of editing and structuring this whole complex storyline together, in my opinion, was rather well done, even though it still kind of went and fucked my mind up. Another thing about that I was confused about was the fact that they just kept characters were being introduced, and I was like, what the hell does this have to do with anything? Obviously that it all leads somewhere, but at first it was a bit confusing, and that didn't really help. I was just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, another thing is the performances, for the most part, to me, were just kind of average at first. They do get better as the film draws closer and closer to the end, but for example, Naomi Watts, I just really didn't like her performance, to be honest. Like, she just really seemed to be trying too hard, I suppose you could say. That's just me, though, but I do think that things for her and everyone else really just kind of improve as the film, as I mentioned before, drew closer to an end. Other than that, this is a film that didn't do much for me in terms of the emotional content, I guess you could say. I'm not gonna say, like, don't look at me and go, like, oh, old heartless said he just has no feelings. That's not that I mean. It did evoke some emotions in me, but by the end of it, I was just kind of like, well, it's good, but that's it. The film didn't do much for me in terms of what it was about, but what it did to me did make me want to see it again, and in that sense, I suppose you could say the film has done its job. So credit to that. Now for my interpretation. Now, if you people, in all honesty, I tried to just not listen to anybody else's interpretation. I mean, I listened, but I just didn't want to let it affect me. And I always thought that the first half section, or what, not the first half, but you know what I mean, was a dream. And then from then on, unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch it again as I had planned because the website wasn't working. So I just kind of have to. I had to go in and really research this shit out, and I came to the general conclusion that the first part of the film, in which Diane, who's played by Naomi Watts, when she wakes up, first she's Betty, then she wakes up as Diane, okay, and she's like on the contrary to what she was before in the original movie, which was a upcoming and really talented actress, whereas when she wakes up as Diane, she's not that. She's in a shitty relationship, so to speak, and is just really failing at her life professionally and personally. That I got the sense that was the first part where she was successful was a dream of something she wanted to be, something she wanted to be more of. She wanted to be more successful. She wanted to have more hope, and also in terms of the relationship with Rita. That was when she wakes up. See, fuck, I'm confusing the shit out of myself now. That when she wakes up and she's with Camilla, Rita was more controllable. Something that she could. Something she had more control over. Whereas with Camilla, she was like had absolutely no control, and it was just a shitty thing. So it was a dream world, so to speak, in the sense that everything was better in terms of a career and in terms of having someone who she could not have a tighter lid on, so to speak, but have more of a more power, so to speak. I'm not wording that all right, and so I hope you know what I mean. Some people subscribe to the theory that there were two dreams. I don't see that. I just think everything from when she wakes up and you see this whole other world is real. I'd have to check it out again to give it a proper analysis, I guess you could say, in terms of that. But I still stand by the fact that this is a dream, and then she wakes up to this much more real, much more bleak scenario in her life, if you want to say. And what I think that the film, in that sense, is about is really just about Hollywood and how it is really just what it does to people and how it offers hope, how it can take it away so easily, how it can really draw you in and not offer a lot of promise, and also the fact that it was a dream, in my opinion, helps with the whole role playing aspect and the fact that when you go to Hollywood, you're playing entirely different people, which is what she was kind of doing in the dream. Yeah, and just that hope being dashed, and just that Hollywood is, in a sense, a poison, so to speak. But in that sense, the film is not open to just one interpretation. I was talking about Joshua, and he's completely right that this film, no one explanation is right. Well, it could be right, but not one like just because that makes sense doesn't mean another interpretation here is automatically wrong. Because there's still a lot of open-ended things, even with any explanation, that you could still look at and say, well, maybe not. And that film, for me, that conclusion that I've come up to is the best thing I can come up with. And if you don't like it, I'm thinking bad thoughts. But I will just conclude by saying please check out everyone else's reviews because they did a much better job than me. I also want to say, in terms of this film, even though I only give it a 7 out of 10, mainly because it just provoked a lot of thought in me afterwards, check it out. And if you're looking and going, what the fuck, I don't want to be confused, this film is not for me. I thought the same thing too, and in the end, I still don't think it's for me. I didn't get much out of it. There are tons of films out there that make perfect sense, that evoked more emotions and more thoughts in me. But at the same time, this one is much more complex and much more. It's open to a lot of different interpretation, as I said, and that makes for a lot of interesting thinking. So give it a shot. I definitely think it's worth a watch. And I don't think anybody here, I think everybody here loved it more than me. I didn't hate it. I would say I liked it fair enough. If you want to, if I had to choose, I'm still kind of divided. But ultimately, just the fact that it made me think a lot, and I was actually as I mentioned before, in the process of trying to come up with something, it made me want to watch it again just to be sure. So job well done to the movie. So in that sense, it's a good movie. I really have nothing bad to say about it. So check it out, please, and thank you for watching Real DVD Watchers for Mulholland Drive Week. Thank you for watching again. Take care. Bye.